Okay, guys. Now you're tapping away, doing what you do. You've got your plan. You've got figures. Punter comes into you and he wants £3,000 on at 5-2. What happens?
We sort of make sure we'll always try to lay any bet. I think that's the first thing we should say. We'll always try to accommodate any punter as best we can, and I think we'd always take a chunk, if not all, of the bet. I don't really have a problem with saying no. You can't have £3,000 on. I'll lay you £2,000, or I'll lay you £1,000 at this price, or £1,000 at that price, or something like that. I think that's okay. But yeah, it's tricky, really. Yeah.
And that would obviously depend on if you're in your good pitch at Cheltenham compared to
Cheltenham,
yeah.
At Cheltenham, I don't think it. At Cheltenham, we just certainly just throw it in the bag, but it wouldn't. We'd be fine. Yeah.
But if it's a bet at a local meeting and it's over and above anything you're taking, is that a good thing or a bad thing for you?
I mean, that's good, really. I want to take the money.
90% of the time, it's we don't mind. Yeah. The one thing you don't want is to lay like somebody wants 9,000 to 3, and there's like 30 seconds before the off. But as long as you don't want that. But.
I always remember being at Cheltenham, and it was an off meeting. I'm sure it was an off meeting, and it was an Irish guy, and his horse was called the Drunken Monkey. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And he had 1,500 quid each way at 33s, and we took it.
Did you know what price it was when you took it?
I can't remember quite how it happened.
I hope he asked for the fractions.
No, he didn't. I think he was drunk himself, to be honest. He was really friendly and quite...
Yeah.
And I remember we were like panicking a bit because you're looking at the book and it took out like 40 grand and you're thinking, oh my God. I know you had to run up and bet it back up in the main ring, didn't you? And I think I remember like watching you hobble up to the top ring because you'd hurt your knee or something and thinking,
the knee had gone,
oh my God. And it was the first one beat, wasn't it? I can't remember what we stuck it for, more than we wanted to, but not as much as, not sort of a scary amount really. In the end, it was okay. But yeah, and you hobbling back saying, I've got this and that. Going, oh my God.
I suppose something like that happening every now and again keeps the adrenaline going and keeps the interest up.
Yeah. I mean, the Irish at Cheltenham this year, they had pots of money, and they, you just laid them, and they were, they're good banter, wasn't there? There's good humour,
How few and far between are the big bets at the random meetings?
Lately, we've taken a few decent bets lately, but you just never know. You really never know. You can turn up and think, oh, this might be a day that, we take a lot of money, and you don't, and the next day you think it's going to be quiet, and there's a certain few people there who've got another good bet. So it's really hard to know really what's going to happen.
Do you sort of spot a face in the crowd and go, bugger?
Sometimes, yeah.
So, and you also bet at point to point. So I was doing the live streaming at the point to points. You guys were there. A couple of times you know where to go at a point to point, is there? Because you've got no exchanges and stuff.
That's the trouble. You see, but if your regulars bet with you on course, you can't suddenly say to them, "Oh, we got no bet that today." You still got a lane, haven't you? So anyway, that was interesting a few times, but.
And do you play in a different way because of the fact you haven't got the extra hedging on the exchanges, or?
No, the only thing is I've got a big enough float. If I haven't got Dax's float, it's a bit tricky there.
But you've done the points this year, haven't you? I haven't really been.
The points this year have been very poor.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you got multiple pitches at Newton Abbot, Cheltenham. I mean, a few people are a bit critical about multiple pitches. What would be the advantage of them? I mean, is it, even at a poor meeting, is it worth having all your extra staff?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I mean, it just means you take X amount of the money.
Yeah, but don't forget, when, like say, although we've got 4 pitches, we've only got, there's 2 of us and 3 staff, haven't
we?
Yeah.
Because all those are linked up.
Yeah, they're all linked up, but Frank and John and Dax do a pitch on their own, and me and Q's obviously he's the main man. Everything feeds through to them. So there's the staff is not that, so we got 4 pitches and we're employing 3 people. So yeah, it's good.
It works well. Yeah.
Definitely. Do you need to buy a betting badge for each pitch?
Oh yeah.
So the X's are fairly high.
Oh yeah, the X's are a grand for every Newton Abbot meeting.
Yeah.
So you have at Cheltenham and Newton Abbot, you've got large teams out. So how are the logistics of getting staff? I mean, is staff available all the time?
Cheltenham, we have the same team every year. There's Dax and I and 7 others. So we just got a house and bed and breakfast in Stratford, and we just take that house over, and they do the evening meals, and we just drive in. It's great.
Yeah, all the lads are brilliant at work. I mean,
They're brilliant. They're all 7 of them. Well, we lost Peter King, but yeah, he was great as well. But the guy that's replaced him is good. So yeah, we haven't got any duffers. They're all top class workmen. So.
And we're very fortunate as well, because I think they enjoy it. You know, because it's such a great occasion. You know,
and they all get on, don't they?
Everyone gets on. You know, they
all get
pop
on.
out have a beer before. Always have a couple of beers in the evening. Keep it kind of, you know, enjoy it. I enjoy it. You know, I always look forward to it, and it's because it's great to see my mates, and I think, you know, they enjoy it too. So yeah, it's like it's not a holiday, if you know what I mean, but like it feels like at times you can think, oh, but yeah, we're having a great time with my mates. You know,
they're well paid, but they deserve every penny they get, because they work under a lot of pressure. So.
Yeah, but when recently there's been a lot of. I mean, we all love the game, but the people, when you say bookmaker these days, you might as well say, sell smack at school or something. You know, I mean, have you noticed a difference in attitude of people towards what you do? I mean, would you have told your children's parents at school what your other dads?
Well, I wasn't supposed to moonlight as a bookie, so I didn't tell anybody. But
but I mean, do you even get a bit of have you got like a bit of a stigma about it yourself? Would you be reluctant to mention it to people, or do you think it's something that's wrong and then it should be? It's wrong that it's looked at like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not really ashamed of it in any sense, and I don't think anyone should be. I mean, it's a great job, you know, and I think, you know, if people are looking down their nose at it, would you look down at your nose at somebody who owns a pub or other sort of, you know, perceived vices? I certainly, you know, want to take anybody's money who's got a problem with gambling. You know, just like anybody, we hopefully have a duty of care to everybody who has a bet with us. But it's, yeah, I'd encourage people to come along who sort of doubt it and have a chat to us, and you know, hopefully we could show them that it's a bit of fun, and you know, it's not something to be scared of or attach any stigma to it.
Now, you're a father yourself.
Yeah,
Would you be encouraging your kids? I mean, what do you think about the fact that you're a family business and that your kids, I know they're not old enough at the moment, but your kids wouldn't be able to learn the family business until they're actually 18, whereas you and Danielle could learn the ropes whenever.
Yeah.
Well, but also, Simon, you've got to remember, in 2052, we might have to hand all the pitches back, aren't we? Because as things stand at the moment, we've only got the pitches till, is it 2052, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that so you've invested all that money, and they would suddenly become who owns them then?
Well, that could be the end of it. I don't know. The negotiations are going ahead, but I mean, as things stand now, at the end, 2052, we could be finished.
It could be.
And you've been cheerful again, Dax,
well, I won't be here, will I?
I mean,
I don't know if he'll be here.
How much? Because things have been difficult for Racecourse bookmakers, because everybody's got a mobile phone now where they can back with all the off-course firms, and I mean, has that effect sort of plateaued now? Have you noticed things have steadied up a bit, or is the trend up or down?
Well, I think COVID really, you know, the period after COVID was difficult for Racecourse bookmakers. And now people come up to me and said, "Oh, well, have I got best odds guaranteed?" Or all this, and all, you know, how many places? Have I got 7 places? And you'd be like, "No, you know, you can't. You know, we're not Sky Bet, we're not 7. So that was tough. But I think people have now kind of shifted their expectations back to to a sort of normality on a racecourse. And I think people like cash. I think people like coming and having an interaction with the bookmaker. You know, there's a lot of fun to be had. You know, we try and have a chat to people. I mean, the great thing about the staff we got is they're really friendly and they're funny. There's some really great characters on the racecourse to have a chat to. So I think that's part of the attraction. But yeah, of course, you know, we're very aware of the off-course betting, and it's very attractive. It's very difficult to, you know, you can't say otherwise. So yeah, it's just one of those things, really. But I feel like we're sort of holding our own at the moment, really.
So if your children were evidently falling in love with it and wanted to do what you and Joe do, would you as a responsible father, be encouraging them to forsake their studies and learn their fractions, or would you be dubious that they're going to have to worry about the 2052 that Joe's on about?
I certainly wouldn't put them off it. It's something that I really enjoy, so I think that they enjoy it. But I'd always encourage anybody going into any sort of family business really to have another string to their bow. So I'd want them to do something else as well, because I think that I think we're quite fortunate in the fact that we've got a reasonable relationship and things work well together. Whereas I think that I know a good few people in different family businesses, not necessarily bookmaking, who struggle to get on, and it can be quite tricky. So I think I'd definitely want them to kind of look elsewhere, perhaps first, maybe, but I certainly wouldn't put them off it.
So the future's relatively bright in the on-course bookmaking game as far as you're concerned?
I think so. I think so. It's really tricky to say. I mean, technology moves so fast. But yeah, things are good on course at the moment. So yeah, I'm fairly positive about it.
I mean, attendance in Newton Abbot in the week was tremendous, wasn't it?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fairness to Pat, he's done the right thing by dropping the prices from 22 to 16. I think that was a good move. I think Newton Abbot, that was very good. Let's hopefully they get a big crowd there on Monday. But this one.
I don't think when people are watching this, the weather might have improved, Joe. This is summer, isn't it? So anyway, we like to get all this is the final bit now, Joe, you'll be pleased to know, but we try and get all the stories in these interviews. But you told me one probably, I don't know, it was a year ago, Dax, was it now? There was a bit of a faux pas. Joe said I couldn't report the story until he was gone. Yeah. Is that still the case, Joe, or do you want to tell us?
Yeah, I think you better leave it at that, yeah. It was funny though. It wasn't funny at the time.
If people think I should record it under the promise that I won't release it until Joe's gone.
I honestly thought initially somebody was stitching me up because the person was covered in tattoos and she cannot be genuine. And I laughed and things. But I didn't laugh so much 3 hours later. Anyway, yeah.
But you're teasing people now, Joe, because you're a relatively young man still.
It's a good
so
story.
You may not be gone for 30 years, so we're going to have to wait a while for the sequel, aren't we?
Yeah.
So if people think that I should record it and then save it under promise of not showing it until Joe pops his clogs, mention it in the credits.
Episode.
I tell you what, though,
Even
every Newton Abbot meeting, people come up and remind me of it.
Oh well.
You a shareholder at Newton Abbot?
No.
Oh, not anymore.
They ought to have made me a shareholder.
Well.
Anyway, so this story is to be continued. Hopefully, it won't be for many, many, many years, Joe.
It's a good one.
Well, on that note, Joe and Dax, Oliver, thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.